You have not changed. The whiskey clings to my lips like a broken promise, bitter and forceful. I feel its heat searing the inside of my mouth, traveling down my throat, joining the turmoil already churning in my gut. But I keep drinking, because without it, I'm not sure if I can keep my voice steady. Not tonight, anyway. I'm standing in our bedroom. My bedroom, now staring at you. Or maybe I'm staring through you. The overhead light is too bright. I almost want to kill it. Let the darkness swallow us both. But I need to see your eyes when I say what has to be said. I need to see if there's any trace of remorse. Or maybe I just want confirmation that the woman I once loved is gone. You have not changed. I repeat, lower now. My voice cracks, betraying me. Or maybe it reveals too much truth. Everything is so still. Even the air feels heavy, like a thick blanket pressed against my face. I swallow the rest of the whiskey in one punishing gulp, and the burn steadies me, ironically. The smell of it, the taste, it's part of me now, like some anchor in a storm. I set the glass on the small table by the window, the ice rattling once before settling. My hands drop to my sides. I want to scream at you, to lash out, and throw everything in sight. But no, I won't give you the satisfaction of witnessing that. Instead, I just stare, letting the silence erode whatever defenses you might have left. When you finally open your mouth to speak, I raise my palm sharply, and you stop. I say, this moment, right here, it's not a negotiation. Don't you dare give me excuses. I pause because I can't decide which name to call you. My wife. Sarah. A stranger? The silence expands again, and for a moment, my heart thunders so loudly that I can hardly hear my own breathing. I clear my throat. Let's go back. I manage, quieter now, to when I first suspected. Because that's where it all began. Sometimes I think it started on an ordinary Tuesday. I'd been running on fumes from work, some investigative piece about city corruption that had me chasing leads all over Phoenix. I was late picking up the kids from their after-school program. When we finally got home, dinner was half cold on the stove, and you were nowhere to be found. I remember shrugging it off. You had your job, your errands, your own life. We were never the couple who demanded each other's presence 24/7, but you got in after midnight that evening. Your eyes were wild. Guilty, I realize now. You made up a story about a project crisis, about going to your colleague's house. Some team brainstorm, you said. My instincts, honed from years of being a reporter, twitched, but I ignored them. I let your words wrap me in a false sense of comfort. She's stressed at work. She's overworked. She's committed. I want her to succeed. Days bowled into weeks. Late nights. Glances at your phone that made you tense up. Unfamiliar cologne that clung to your blouse when I got in close enough to hug you. A subtle shift in your posture whenever you mentioned a certain coworker's name. Robert, Rob, Miller. Gradually, my doubts solidified into something far more substantial. The phone tracker on the kids' devices, an application I'd installed under the guise of safety, recorded your car traveling a certain route, always on the nights you were working late. And that route never once came near your actual office. Still, I said nothing. At first, I tried to justify it. Maybe she's helping out a friend. Maybe the address is a client's place. Maybe. But the pattern kept repeating, over and over. The coordinates and timestamps glaring at me like blinking neon lights. She's at his house. I guess a part of me hoped you'd own up to it on your own. Sit down, maybe cry, say you were lost. Or you were confused. Or you were searching for something we'd lost in our marriage. Instead, you just got more secretive. The stress etched lines in your face. You snapped at the kids over trivial things. You avoided my eyes. The final blow came 2 months later. I turned on the hidden app from my phone, checking the location. Sure enough, the route was the same. Only this time, I decided to drive there myself. I needed to see it. In journalism, we call it corroborating your source. I parked half a block away from Rob's condo. The early evening glow cast long shadows across the sidewalk. A sprinkling of desert shrubs lined the walkway to his front door. I remember stepping out of my car, my heart battering my chest, like a caged animal, sweat forming along my collar. And then I heard it. The sound of you laughing. Not from heartbreak or guilt. It was a laugh so carefree it tore me in half. You were with him, inside. I crept toward the partially open window. Careful, quiet. That's when I saw you, your silhouette pressed against his, the warm lamplight flickering through the curtains. The memory is carved into my mind like an etching on stone. The shape of your body leaning into his, the faint outlines of your fingers in his hair, your face tilted upward in a moment of desire. His hand sliding along your waist, your breath catching at his touch. It wasn't just an embrace. It was heated, urgent. I caught a glimpse of the way you arched your back, the way his lips pressed against your neck. That small moan you gave, soft but unmistakable, etched itself into my consciousness so profoundly that I felt physically ill. I stumbled backward, swallowing bile. The forced hush of your voices came in waves through the window. I couldn't stand there another second, but I couldn't move either. My legs felt heavy, pinned by 1,000 regrets. Finally, I managed to turn away and reached my car. Once inside, I started the engine and sat there, hands on the wheel, until the tears finally came. But I swallowed them. Swallowed everything. It was then I knew I'd lost you, or maybe you'd lost me. Either way, the betrayal was unmistakable. Now, standing here in the bedroom, with the whiskey's taste still burning, I wonder if you can see that memory flickering behind my eyes. Do you see the man who stood at that window? Do you see what it did to him? You shift on your feet, your arms folded tight over your chest. You always did that when you felt cornered. Mark, you start, and I hold up my hand again. Slowly, precisely. I said don't. I murmur. I notice how your breathing goes shallow, your gaze dropping. The tension in the air is so thick, my ears are ringing. God, what a farce. We used to share everything, our hopes, our fears, and now we share nothing but this suffocating weight. Cold is also an emotion, they say, and it's all I feel now. I sit heavily on the edge of the bed. We had children, Sarah. I say softly, a life. I wanted to grow old with you, and you just. My words falter. I press my palms together to keep them from trembling. I didn't mean. You begin, but then your voice breaks. I let out a short, humorless laugh. Didn't mean what? Didn't mean to do it, or didn't mean to get caught. You hesitate, and something in your eyes flickers. I watch you swallow, watch the way your throat works. It was never about hurting you. You finally whisper. A hollow silence follows. We both know how empty that sounds. I drag a palm across my face, and for a second, the guilt swells inside me. Not guilt about what you did. Guilt because somehow I feel like I should have known. I should have protected my family from this. Maybe if I'd been a better husband, a better father, you wouldn't have looked for something in another man's arms. But then I recall the DNA test, that last dagger you shoved into me. I see the memory so clearly, the day the results came in. I had suspected, given the timing. We had that second child, our youngest. You always said he was mine, but the timeline never made sense, especially after I found out about Rob. And sure enough, that piece of paper confirmed the worst. My brother-in-law, who works in a lab, got me the results discreetly. I never told you I tested. I guess that was my final line of defense, to find out the truth so I could keep living in reality. You try to speak, but I shake my head. I won't reveal everything yet. You don't even know that I know. At least, not for sure. But you must suspect that something is off. Mark, please. Enough. My voice is quiet but sharp, and you close your mouth as though you've been slapped. I stand up, crossing to the dresser, setting down the whiskey glass. I can't look at you. If I do, I might break. Instead, I exhale, letting the tension coil tighter inside me like a spring about to snap. After a beat, I speak again. He took something from me. Or maybe you handed it to him. Either way, you let him in. I was locked out. My mouth twists in a bitter smile. He took my place. In our bed, in your thoughts. Maybe even in my own child's life. But I waited. Because I needed to be sure. Your hands tremble at your sides. You open your mouth again, but no words come out. Instead, you slowly slide onto the chair by the closet. I notice the wedding ring on your finger, that piece of metal that used to symbolize unity. I see how your hand goes to it, fidgeting, twisting. You start, then stop. For a moment, neither of us speaks. The quiet is deafening, pressing on my ears until I hear the pounding of my own heartbeat. I realize, with a distant sort of detachment, that you haven't changed at all. You're still the person who can't face consequences head-on, who hides behind half-explanations and watery apologies. I remember the day I found out the DNA results. My parents were visiting. They're old now, their eyesight failing, their bodies weaker. But they always see right through me emotionally. That morning, I sat at the kitchen table, that damned envelope in my hands. I kept flipping it over and over, trying to summon the courage to open it. My father was in the living room, reading the newspaper with a magnifying glass. My mother was humming as she washed dishes. The kids were playing outside. And I was sitting there, on the verge of unraveling. When I finally tore it open and read the lines, all my suspicions became fact. The words on that paper were so sterile, so clinical, so final. I can't describe the wave of fury, heartbreak, and near disbelief that swept through me. Suddenly, I felt a dull ache in my chest, a literal physical pain. My vision blurred. My father must have sensed something. He came to the doorway. "Son," he said softly. I quickly tucked the papers away. I couldn't let him see me like that. Raw, gutted. My mother asked if I was okay. I forced a smile, nodding too vigorously. But I knew that both of them would sense that something was horribly wrong. Their parents, after all. I slipped outside, ignoring the kids who were busy with their bikes and chalk drawings. I walked down the street until my legs gave out. I sank onto a curb, pressing my fist to my mouth. Everything I thought I knew about my life was shattered. I couldn't even grieve properly. I had to keep it together for my parents, for my kids, for the job that demanded my presence. So I shoved it all down, burying it beneath layers of forced composure. Cold is also an emotion, they say. Right then, I understood it. I forced everything into a deep freeze. Maybe if I went numb, I wouldn't have to feel the knife twisting in my gut. Back in our bedroom, the hush persists. I cross my arms, leaning against the dresser now. You remember that night I confronted you about working late? I ask, my voice strangely even. You lied straight to my face. Said you had no choice, that the team had a deadline. You basically looked right through me. And my throat tightens again. I believed you. Because I loved you. Or maybe because I was afraid to see what was right in front of me. You clasp your hands together. Your knuckles are white. I can see the faint shimmer of tears in your eyes, but you don't let them fall. You don't say a word. It's as if you finally realize no half-hearted excuse will fix this. I press my hand to my chest. Do you have any idea how this feels? To watch your wife give herself to another man in the dark. To see her smile in ways she hasn't smiled at you in years. My words come out slow, like each syllable weighs a ton. And then you come home, crawl into bed, and pretend nothing happened. A tear escapes down your cheek now. You don't wipe it. You just stare at me, your lips pressed into a thin line. It's not that I wanted to punish you. I go on, my voice flat. I wanted, God help me, I wanted you to come to me, to confess, to say you made a mistake, you were sorry, you loved me still. But you never did. You kept lying. You kept seeing him. You sniff, your breath hitching. Mark, I was confused. You say quietly. Something in May. You pause, searching for the right words. I felt like we were drifting apart. We never talked. You were always working, chasing stories. I felt alone. And Rob, he listened. I bark out a harsh laugh. He listened. That's your explanation. I see your shoulders flinch at my tone. You could have talked to me. You could have. I run a hand through my hair. But no, you went behind my back, into his arms. My voice lowers. And I'm the one who's alone now. You place a trembling hand over your mouth, as though to contain any defense you might spill. We stand there a moment, eyes locked in a mixture of anger and sorrow. I think of the ring on your finger again. That band feels like a mockery. I try to remember a time when we were happy. And I do recall fleeting images. You in a sunlit kitchen, laughing as I twirled you around. The kids squealing in delight. A family trip to the Grand Canyon. Our oldest perched on my shoulders while you snapped photos. Those memories sting now, like illusions of a life that was never real. We shift vantage points for a second, like a camera panning out. I see our reflection in the mirror above the dresser, two strangers locked in a conflict that has no neat resolution. My hair has more gray than I remember. Your face is etched with lines of regret. This is the carnage left behind when trust is destroyed. Your phone buzzes on the nightstand. We both glance at it instinctively. The display lights up with a name that you quickly flip face down, as though you can hide it. As though that changes anything. My jaw clenches. Is it him? I ask calmly, though my voice feels razor thin. You hesitate, then nod once. I told him not to call. You whisper. A small, humorless smile twists my mouth. But he still does, because he's sure you'll come back. And why shouldn't he be sure? He had you at his place all those nights. He had your ear, your smile, your body. He might even have more. You flinch, biting your lower lip. I take a deep breath, letting the tension out in a long exhale. Don't turn that phone over, I say, or I swear I might break it. I half expect you to stand up and defend him, but you just bow your head. I pick up the whiskey glass again, though it's empty. I swirl the ice, watch it glisten in the lamplight. Let's talk about the rest, I say. My voice is quiet, loaded with meaning. We have a second child. You told me, like you always did, that he was mine. But that was a lie too, wasn't it? You jerk your head up. Your eyes widen in panic. What? No, Mark. I hold out the folded paper from my back pocket. I've carried it for weeks, too afraid to destroy it, too proud to show it. This says differently. I open the page, scanning the lines that are burned into my mind. Probability of paternity, 0.0%. The color drains from your face. I see you lean forward, your mouth open in shock. How did you? It doesn't matter. My voice cracks, but I steady it. I know. I've known for a while. And I've been sleeping next to you, day after day, wondering if you'd ever come clean. I can't hold back the bitterness. You never did. Suddenly, your hands shoot up to your face, tears streaming down in earnest. Your shoulders begin to shake. Mark, I didn't know. You sob. I swear, I wasn't certain. I never wanted this to happen. I watch you cry, watch the quiver of your shoulders, the shuddering breaths you try to stifle. My instincts ache to comfort you, to kneel at your side, cradle your head against my chest, and tell you it's going to be okay. But I can't. That man died the day I stood outside Rob's window, watching you give yourself to him. Instead, I stand rigid, ignoring the tears that prick my own eyes. Let them fall if they want. Let them burn. I force my gaze to the floor, refusing to offer you a hand. The kids are at my parents' place tonight. Thank God. They can't see us like this. They can't hear the quiet devastation echoing between these four walls. They can't know how shattered their father is, how lost their mother has become. They deserve better. They don't deserve to watch the only world they've known collapse. I whisper, our child calls me Dad. He doesn't know any different. I look up at you, voice trembling with heartbreak. What do I do with that, Sarah? You're crying too hard to answer. You press a hand to your chest, shaking your head. I never wanted to hurt you. You manage between sobs. I never even considered that. You let out a quivering sigh. It's so complicated. Please. I can't. Of course you can't. I toss the words at you, my voice sharper than I intend. Then I run a hand through my hair, swallowing the anger. The whiskey does nothing to numb this brand of pain. I take a step toward you, but it's not a gesture of comfort. It's a final confrontation. Listen, I murmur, letting the emotion drip into every syllable. I loved you, probably still do, in some twisted corner of my heart. But you killed something between us, and there's no going back. Your cries quiet slightly, as though you know you have to hear these words. I'm sorry, you say over and over, like a chant, as if it might cure the disease of betrayal. But apologies don't resurrect the dead. Now is the time for me to speak my piece, to let you see how deep these wounds go. You should have told me. I say, each word precise. You should have chosen me, or at least been honest enough to say you were done before you went to him. But you didn't, and you hid it for months, maybe years. You took away my chance to fight for us, to fix what was broken, if it even was fixable. I pause, letting the silence press in. You made me a fool. It's then I realize that, in some twisted way, I blame myself for not seeing the cracks sooner, for ignoring the red flags, for letting the distance between us grow. Maybe if I'd asked you more questions, if I'd noticed you crying quietly in the shower or drifting off with a phone in your hand, we could have faced whatever was driving you away. But I was too busy chasing truths outside our home, forgetting the truths that were slipping away inside it. I take a step back, letting your sobs fill the air. Your face is streaked with tears, and your hands shake violently. Mark, you whisper, please don't hate me. My voice comes out in a whisper. I don't hate you, but I don't know how to love you anymore. Things move in slow motion after that. I remember the sound of a door creaking open, the squeak of floorboards under my feet. My mind races with all the ways I could lash out. Maybe smash a family photo, break that phone you keep flipping face down, or tear that damned paper to shreds. But none of it would bring back what we lost. Eventually, I find myself at the front door. The living room is dark, the furniture looming like silent witnesses. I sense you behind me, your presence a tense shadow in the hallway. What are you doing? You ask, your voice still thick with tears. I open the door and step outside, letting the cool desert night air wash over me. It's a relief from the suffocating tension inside. The moon is bright, illuminating the yard, the street. I hear the distant hum of cars. Somewhere, a neighbor's dog barks. Everything is normal, except inside me. Everything is unrecognizable. You stand there in the doorway, arms wrapped around your torso, tears glistening on your cheeks under the moonlight. Where are you going? I look at you. My face must be some mask of sorrow and resignation. I don't know, I answer truthfully. Away, just for a while. For a second, I see the fear in your eyes, a flicker of the old love we shared. Mark, we can't just go to bed like this. I can't stand it. I almost laugh at how absurd that statement is. Did you think I'd just close my eyes and forget everything I found out? That tomorrow we'd wake up and pretend it's fine. You swallow, stepping forward. We have to talk more. You plead. We have to figure it out. Figure what out? I hold my arms open wide in a gesture of futility. That you cheated on me with a coworker? That one of our children is actually his? That I've been lying to everyone, including myself, just to keep this house from falling apart? My voice softens as the anger subsides into exhaustion. I'm not sure how we come back from this. You step closer, your face contorted with desperation. The desert breeze ruffles your hair, making you look small, fragile. Mark, I never wanted to lose you, you whisper. I got lost. Rob, he was just something different, a distraction from the loneliness. But it got too far. I'm sorry. Tears slick down your cheeks again. I nod, acknowledging your words, but my chest feels hollow. Yeah, I say quietly. It sure did get too far. You try to reach for my hand, but I slip it into my pocket, shutting myself off. My mind flickers back to that window, that silhouette of the two of you. The memory hovers like a ghost, refusing to fade. I'm not staying here tonight, I say, stepping onto the porch. You stare at me, your eyes full of regret. Please, come back inside. I shake my head. I need space, Sarah. I need to figure out what's next. A pause, and then your voice wavers. When will you be back? I look out over the street, the asphalt shimmering under the moon, as if mocking the illusions that once formed our marriage. I don't know. I leave you standing there in the doorway, your arms tightly wrapped around yourself. The door remains open, letting the inside light spill onto the porch. I wonder if you'll wait up for me or if you'll sink to the floor in despair. But I can't think about it now. I need to get away before I suffocate in the wreckage. I end up at a motel across town. It's one of those places with flickering neon signs and cheap rooms. When I step inside, the smell of stale cigarette smoke and cleaning chemicals clings to the curtains. The overhead light buzzes. Everything about the room is depressing, but at least it's not home. I toss my jacket on the chair and sit on the edge of the bed. My phone vibrates, texts, missed calls, probably from you. I power it off without reading a single message. Right now, I want silence. I notice there's a bar across the street, its neon sign reflecting in a puddle of water from the sprinklers. That old craving for oblivion stirs in me, the same urge that made me gulp that whiskey earlier. But I ignore it. Too many nights lost to that false comfort. Instead, I let my head fall into my hands, elbows on my knees, and inhale slowly until the tension eases. The recollection of that final confrontation, your tear-streaked face, your voice raw with regret, cycles through my mind, relentless. God, I whisper to no one. How did we get here? But the answer never comes. In the morning, I wake to dull sunlight leaking through the threadbare curtains. My eyes ache from too little sleep. A loud truck rumbles by outside, stirring me from a restless doze. I force myself to stand, my back stiff. Memories of last night slam into me all at once. The confrontation, the tears, the truth. I lean against the dresser, trying to steady my breathing. I manage to splash some cold water on my face in the tiny bathroom. Staring at my reflection in a cracked mirror, I see a man I barely recognize. Stubble dusts my jaw. The lines around my eyes are deeper than ever. My phone sits silent on the nightstand, powered off. Then there's a knock on the door. My heart jumps. Who'd come here? I cross the room quietly, peering through the peephole. It's my father. I freeze, mind scrambling. How did he find me? Why is he here? I open the door. He looks tired, worried. Dad? I say, stepping aside to let him in. He gives me a long look, his once strong frame stooped with age. Saw your car in the lot, he explains curtly. Took a guess. Your mother's worried sick. I exhale, closing the door behind him. I'm sorry, Dad, I mutter. He eyes the worn-out bed, the flickering light overhead. Mark, what the hell is going on? He asks softly. Sarah told us you left, that you had a fight. A bitter laugh escapes me. Yeah, a fight. More like the end of everything. But you don't want the details. He steps closer, places a hand on my shoulder. It's a gesture so fatherly I almost break down. Son, we're not blind. We know something's been off. We tried not to pry. But if there's a problem, let us help. I swallow hard. There's nothing you can do, Dad. This. I pause. How do I even phrase it? It's beyond fixing. He studies me with sad eyes, then motions to the bed. We both sit, the silence stretching like a chasm. Finally, he clears his throat. Your mother and I, well, we went through rough patches too. You know that. Marriage is complicated. Sometimes mistakes happen. Mistakes, I echo. A pang of anger surges, but my father means well. I close my eyes, the words rushing out. She cheated, Dad. Not once, not an accident. An affair. And there's another man might be the father of one of my kids. My voice splinters. He blinks in shock, inhaling sharply. For a moment, he just stares at me, struggling to process what I've said. Then, after a long pause, he gently places a hand on mine. Mark, I'm sorry. His grip is firm, but I can sense his own heartbreak. That's a burden no man should bear. I can't speak. I'm swallowing a surge of emotions. He squeezes my hand, then releases it. We sit in silence for a minute more, listening to the drip of the faucet in the bathroom. Finally, he speaks, voice calm. I can't tell you what to do. You have to decide if you can forgive her, or if you should walk away. But know that we love you, and we'll stand behind whatever choice you make. I run a hand through my hair. Thanks, Dad, I manage. Right now, I feel like I need to step back. I need to handle some things my way. He nods slowly, understanding. We'll look after the kids for as long as you need. They're safe with us. A knot untangles in my chest at those words. Thank you, I whisper. Really, thank you. He stands, his movements careful. All right, son. I'll go. Just come home when you're ready, or let us know where you end up. He hesitates at the door, turning back. No matter what she did, don't let hatred poison you. That stuff kills you from the inside. I can only nod. I know. Then he leaves, and the motel room is quiet again. But some small part of me feels less alone. It takes me 2 days to return home. During those 2 days, I hole up in that grimy motel, my mind chasing itself in circles. Memories flash by, each more painful than the last. But eventually, a cold clarity settles over me. A plan forms. Because betrayal demands justice, or at least a reckoning. And I'm tired of being the only one who's burdened with the truth. When I finally pull into our driveway, it's dusk. The lights in the house are on. Through the window, I see you pacing. My stomach tightens. I cut the engine and head inside. You're on me the moment I open the front door. Your eyes are red-rimmed, your voice raw. Where have you been? You ask, a tremor in your tone. I was terrified something happened. I set my keys on the table calmly, shrugging out of my jacket. I needed time. My voice is steady, borderline emotionless. Maybe that's a shield. You wipe your tears with the back of your hand. The kids. They're with my parents. I'm here to pack some things. I don't meet your gaze. I can feel your desperation, though, like a physical pulse in the room. Your voice cracks. Are you leaving for good? I pause, feeling the weight of what I'm about to do. I haven't decided. Then I look at you, eyes locking. But one thing's for sure. I'm not tolerating lies anymore. My phone buzzes in my pocket. With quiet deliberation, I pull it out. The name Rob appears on the screen. I must have missed a text or something. I see the flicker of panic cross your face. Without hesitation, I press the button to accept the call and put it on speaker. Then I set the phone on the table between us. Let's see what he has to say, shall we? Your eyes go wide. Mark, what? Sarah. Rob's voice crackles from the speaker. He sounds tense. Are you there? Please, can we talk? You stare at the phone, lips parted in shock. The color drains from your face. Go on, I say softly. Answer. You're frozen. So I step in. I speak into the phone, my voice eerily calm. She's here. She just doesn't know what to say. A beat of silence, then Rob's voice, quieter now. Mark, I didn't mean for this to happen. If you could just let us talk. I feel a spark of anger at how he says us, as if he has some claim. My hand clenches involuntarily, but I keep my composure. You want to talk? I murmur. Fine. Let's have it all out in the open. Your hands fly up. Mark, no. I ignored you. Rob, you want to explain how you ended up fathering a kid with my wife? Because I have the DNA test right here. Another moment of dead air. Then a shaky exhale. I only found out recently, Rob says. I tried to tell Sarah it was complicated. This wasn't planned. He stammers, sounding genuinely distressed. I let out a low breath, leaning on the table. Nothing ever is it? My voice is cold. I glance at you. Your face is a mask of horror. Good. Let them both see the carnage. We should meet in person, Rob pleads. Yelling over the phone won't solve this. I bark out a short, humorless laugh. Who said I'm yelling? My voice is dead calm. I'm done shouting. I just want you both to know what comes next. I let the words hang, then add, you took something precious from me. My trust, my dignity, my sense of family. I'm not letting that go unanswered. Mark, please, you interject, voice trembling. This isn't how we solve it. I turn to you, leveling a gaze so cold it makes you flinch. You had your chance to solve this. You hid it from me. You let me love a child I thought was mine, kept me in the dark. I pick up the phone, pressing it closer to my mouth. Rob, you listening? A swallow on the other end. Yes, I'm going to make sure everyone at your precious tech company knows who you are, I say evenly. I'm not going to do anything illegal, but I sure as hell am going to expose your character. And if you think that promotion or your professional reputation is safe, think again. I'm an investigative reporter, after all. I know how to unearth secrets and present them to the public in a tidy package. Right now, it might just be a moral failing. But I'll dig deeper. Maybe I'll find shady business deals or skeletons in your past. I don't care. I'll ruin you. Mark, you gasped, grabbing my arm. You can't. Please. That's not. He's still. I yank my arm free. He's what? He's the father of your child. Great. Then maybe he can explain to our son one day why his life got turned upside down, because I'm done bearing the brunt of this alone. Rob's breathing is audible, ragged. I know I deserve your anger, he says shakily. But don't do something you'll regret. I let out a hollow laugh. Regret? I regret trusting you both. I regret the years I wasted. But now, I just want to see the consequences land where they should. I end the call. The phone screen goes dark. Slowly, I tuck it back in my pocket. The silence in the house is suffocating. You stand there, hands trembling, tears pooling in your eyes again. Mark, you're better than this, you whisper, voice raw. Am I? I ask, my tone biting. Because being good got me here. Betrayed, humiliated, lied to. Maybe for once, I'm done being the bigger person. You cover your face with your hands. I was wrong, but don't become someone you'll hate. Don't let this poison you. For a moment, I falter. My father's words echo in my mind. Don't let hatred poison you. But then I remember that window, remember your body against his, that contented moan. The test results. My shoulders tense. I gave you everything, I whisper. You gave me betrayal. When I walk into the bedroom to pack a bag, I find your things scattered. Maybe you searched for old photos or letters. I don't know, and I don't ask. I shove clothes into a duffel, tossing random items. I feel you hovering in the doorway. Where will you go? You ask softly. Somewhere else, I say, zipping up the bag. You flinch at the finality in my voice. What about the kids? Our oldest is yours biologically, you add desperately, as if that changes something. He needs you. And the younger one, I know you love him too. You've always been his father in every way that matters. My chest tightens. I'll figure something out, I say, struggling to keep my composure. But until then, they're safer with my parents. I sling the bag over my shoulder and turn to face you. Tears shine in your eyes. Mark, you whisper, I know you hate me right now, but I never stopped loving you. I swear. I stare at you for a long moment. The words are there, swirling, but I can't say them, because I don't know if they're true. Finally, I just close my eyes and let out a shaky breath. You have not changed, I repeat, voice thick, but I have. And with that, I walk out, each step heavy, final, echoing in the hallway. I don't slam the door. I close it quietly. The hush that follows is almost worse than any crash. The next few weeks unfold like a slow, inevitable unraveling. I return to work, focusing on a big story about corporate corruption, burying myself in deadlines and interviews. I contact a lawyer. I set up discreet inquiries into Rob's professional record. Nothing illegal, just pushing the boundaries of what public records can tell me. I compile evidence, line up every detail. I also sort out arrangements with my parents for the kids. They sense something's wrong, but I keep a brave face, show up for dinners, read them bedtime stories when I can. I pretend for them. The older one, my boy, he's worried, always asking when mom and dad will be together again. My heart breaks a little more every time he asks, but I keep it locked down. Because cold is also an emotion, and it keeps me functioning. Meanwhile, you call me daily, texting me, begging me to meet, to talk. Sometimes I block you out. Other times, I give in, just to confirm the distance between us remains unbridgeable. You tell me about therapy, about wanting to fix everything. You sob, telling me you'll do anything. But you won't say you'll let me go. You can't. You keep hoping I'll soften, I'll come back. But with each day, that hope grows smaller. And then comes the final confrontation. An in-person meeting with Rob. He calls me from some burner number, says he's prepared to talk. Prepared to do right by the child that's biologically his. Maybe pay support, maybe come clean to everyone involved. He wants to meet at a neutral location, some deserted corner of a public park. He sounds nervous. I say yes. The sun hangs low when I arrive at the park's side entrance. Long shadows stretch across the grass. Rob is there, leaning against a picnic table, wearing a polo shirt and jeans. He looks uncomfortable, like a trespasser in some private world. I approach slowly, my hands in my jacket pockets. He sees me and stands up. Mark, he says, voice tentative. Thanks for coming. I don't respond, just nod curtly. We stand a few feet apart, like two boxers sizing each other up. Finally, he speaks again. I'm sorry, he begins, for everything. I never meet. I hold up a hand, stopping him. I'm not here for apologies, I say quietly. Tell me why you wanted this meeting. He exhales, gaze flitting around. I want to do the right thing, he says. If the child is mine, I'll step up. Financially, at least. Or more, if necessary. A bitter laugh escapes me. You think this is about money? He looks genuinely pained. I don't know what else to do. I can't erase what happened. He clasps his hands together, voice shaking. Sarah, she was so lonely, Mark. I'm not trying to excuse it, but I care about her. And I never set out to ruin your life. The mention of your name on his lips sparks a flash of anger. My jaw clenches. She was my wife. I say, voice tight. We had a life. You stepped in, took advantage of a crack in our marriage. And now there's a kid who might never know who his real father is. Rob rubs a hand over his face. You think I don't feel guilty? I do. But Sarah told me things. She said you two barely spoke, that you were distant. It felt like I was helping her. It sounds stupid now, but at the time, I closed the distance between us in a single step, eyes flashing. Shut up, I whisper, each syllable like a hiss. You don't get to paint yourself as some knight in shining armor. You pursued a married woman, fathered a child, and lied about it for years, and I'm the one living with the fallout. My fists tighten at my sides. So don't stand here acting noble. He takes a step back, hands up in a defensive posture. Fine, he says softly. I won't pretend to be innocent, but I want to find a way forward that doesn't destroy everyone. Everyone's already destroyed. I snap. The words echo across the empty park. A lone jogger crosses in the distance, oblivious to our tense standoff. His shoulders sag. I'm sorry, he repeats lamely. For a moment, we stand there. I can almost taste my own fury. I recall the nights I spent awake in that motel. The mornings I woke up in a cold sweat, the heartbreak of learning one of my children wasn't mine. And in that moment, I want to break him. I want to ruin his career, drag his name through the mud, make him feel the kind of betrayal that keeps you up at night. But then I remember what my father said. Don't let hatred poison you. I see a flicker of fear in Rob's eyes, and I realize he's just a weak man who got entangled in a situation he never had the backbone to confront honestly. It doesn't absolve him. It doesn't redeem him. But it makes him pathetic. Not worth destroying myself over. I force a slow breath. You want to pay child support. Good. You want to be involved in his life. That's between you and Sarah, and eventually the courts if it comes to that. My voice is clipped, controlled. But let me be clear. I'm not covering for either of you anymore. He nods, relief washing over him. I can see it plainly. I understand, he says. Does that mean you won't publish anything? I stare at him for a moment. No, I won't stoop to that. I sense the weight lifting from him, and it almost makes me want to recant, but I hold firm. But if you step out of line, if you hurt my family any further, I'll make sure you regret it. He lets out a shaky breath, nodding. Thank you. Don't thank me, I snap, turning to leave. Just stay out of my life. That night, I end up in the old house again. You've moved to the couch, apparently leaving the bedroom for me in some misguided attempt at courtesy. I find you in the living room, reading something on your phone. You look up, eyes wide with surprise. I talk to Rob. I say quietly, standing near the doorway. You set the phone down, wordless. After a moment, you nod. I know. He told me you two met. I drag a hand across my face. We worked out a few things. About the child. About him not interfering any more than necessary. You swallow. And what about us, Mark? Your voice trembles. Is there any chance? I raise a hand, silence you. I walk closer, kneeling so I'm at eye level with you. My gaze is steady, but my heart is pounding. Sarah, I say, each word deliberate. I don't know if I can ever trust you again. What you did, it broke something inside me. I see tears welling in your eyes, but I press on. But we have 2 kids, biologically mine or not. They're still both my kids in every way that counts. I won't abandon them. For now, I'm staying in the house, in the guest room maybe, so we can figure out the legalities. You inhale sharply. I'd do anything for you to forgive me, you whisper. I search your face, feeling exhaustion flood my bones. Forgiveness, I murmur. It's not something I can promise right now. I stand up, your gaze following. But I can promise I won't do anything reckless. I won't smear your name publicly or drag you through the mud. That's not who I am. A tear rolls down your cheek. Thank you, you whisper. I turn away, heading down the hallway to the guest room. I hear the quiet sob you try to stifle behind me. For a moment, I feel my chest tighten. But I keep going, keep my expression cold. Because cold is also an emotion. And it's all I have left. Days stretch into weeks. The nights are long and silent. We move around each other like ghosts in the same house. The kids sense the tension, but they're resilient. At least for now. We do the co-parenting thing while under one roof, which is a surreal dance of forced politeness. Sometimes I catch you looking at me with an expression I can't decipher. Pain, longing, regret. I mostly look away. There's a lawyer now, drafting separation agreements. We're not sure if we'll finalize a divorce. Part of me wonders if you'll try to fix us in counseling. Another part of me can't imagine bridging this chasm. Still, life moves on. I keep working, investigating stories. You keep your job, though you come home earlier these days. No more nights out. Rob is a distant specter, presumably staying away as instructed. Sometimes I replay that phone conversation, the trembling in his voice, the fear, and a strange sense of satisfaction lingers, knowing I had power over him and chose not to use it to destroy him. Maybe that's the real revenge. Letting him live with the guilt, uncertain if I'll change my mind later. He'll wake up every day wondering if I'll come knocking. Let that be his penance. Tonight, I find myself in the bathroom. The kids are asleep, your bedroom door is closed. I draw a bath, not too hot, just warm enough to ease the tension in my muscles. The water swirls around me, and I slide down until it almost reaches my chin. I close my eyes, feeling the lingering aches of a day spent trying to maintain a facade of normalcy. Images drift through my mind. Your silhouette with him, the child's smile, so much like yours, the hush of the bedroom that night you pleaded for forgiveness, my father's worried face, my mother's gentle humming. It's like a montage of all the pain I've endured. Somewhere in the swirl of thoughts, I recall how, after discovering your affair, I used to sit in the tub, letting the hot water scald my skin, wishing I could burn away the betrayal. But it never worked. Pain seeps deeper than the surface. I open my eyes. The bathroom lights glaring. The droplets on my arms glisten. They remind me of tears, of how water can wash away many things, but never a broken promise. The drain sits ominously, quietly swallowing the water that overspills. It's like a slow leak, unstoppable. And then, in that quiet moment, I realize that I'm no longer drowning in guilt. Anger, yes. Sadness, definitely. But guilt? No, because at least I know I gave everything to you, to our family. If you threw it away, that's on you. I reach for the handle, letting the water drain. It circles around, disappearing in a quiet whirlpool. I watch it go, and for the first time in a long time, I allow a small exhale of relief. This is the end of one chapter. Maybe it's not the end of us, or maybe it is, but it's the end of the lies, the illusions. I dry off, wrap a towel around my waist, and step into the hallway. The house is silent. I pass by your closed door. I hear a faint shuffle inside. Maybe you're awake, maybe you're crying again. But I keep moving, heading to the guest room. You have not changed, I think. Or maybe you have, and I just don't recognize the new you. But me? I have changed. I'm not sure I'll ever be the same man again. My last thought as I climb into the cold sheets is that sometimes cold is also an emotion, and that might be the only way I can survive right now. I close my eyes, tasting the faint memory of whiskey on my lips, and wait for sleep to take me.